Time egg minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
It's the Rocket Hour. Y'all are now tuned in. Time to hit the pick four that you'd love to win. If your money's coming slow, step on the faster track with your host, Ricky Pasternak. Let's go.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Rocket Hour. And Dennis is right. We are late, but for good reasoning. The scratches came out 1 minute before airtime. So the good news is we have an updated scratch sheet for you, so we don't have to give horses out that might scratch. So the bad news is we were late. Other reason why we're late, breaking news. I'll put it up on the feed now. The Whitney drew just now, Ricky, a field of 5. But it's at least the 5 horses that everyone's most interested in. So field of 5, 6-5 on Knicks Go. I don't know. Initial thoughts on this. I know you've probably seen it for a second.
Yeah, I mean, well, I guess I was accurate yesterday when I told you I can't wait for Silver State to be 4-1, and he's 4-1. So that's all I really cared about. That's the only thing that I was interested in. It's going to be a rider's race again. And unfortunately for me, that's already going to eliminate by my standards. So I don't know. I mean, I don't have many thoughts. I don't really pay attention to post position draws. I get why people do. They're exciting. They're interesting. But I'll look at the race now. And the Saturday card hasn't come out officially. So it does. We'll look at it, and then we'll discuss it on Friday. But I didn't have any initial thoughts because, to be honest with you, I don't care about them all that much. So
my initial thought is 6-5. That might be a tough pill to swallow on Knicks Go. Yeah, you're right. I've analyzed this race a lot already, but I analyzed it with a couple of horses in the field that didn't draw in. So it changes things. So yeah, final day, or judgment day, I should say, is today on the Whitney. We'll be working on the guide all day today and kind of finalizing those picks, at least, for now. There's always could be changes with scratches and things like that. Give me 4-1 on Silver State. I mean, that does jump off the page because this horse has won 6 races in a row and he's 4-1 in a 5-horse field. And oh, by the way, he's won a grade 1 race last time out. So it doesn't make a lot of sense that he would be that price, but we'll see. I think it's going to be accurate. I told you yesterday when you texted me, you're probably going to get that. So a lot to look forward to Saturday. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, though. Let's get into what we're talking about today, and that is the late pick 4 at Saratoga. Races 7 through 10 at Saratoga today. We've got beautiful weather. We just announced that, fast and firm, but we kind of knew that coming in. We'll start on the turf, race 7, 5.5 furlongs for starter allowance horses, 3-year-olds and upward, which have never started for a claiming price of $50,000 or less, or which have never won a race other than maiden or claiming. The MTOs are out. The 2, the 4, and the 6 obviously are out. I thought this was pretty straightforward. Let's hear it. Where did you go here?
Yeah, you really gave us all the language there for the starter allowance. Kudos to you, because I would have skipped over it all. I thought this was pretty straightforward, to be honest with you. If Montauk Daddy runs, let's skip that. I'll skip him because that's me. Let's go to convection then. I only used 2. I actually, it's only a $30 ticket, as you guys can see on the bottom, or I'll recap it. I thought convection looked good in his first 2 starts, and then Tom Amos first time out says we'll go to the turf with him. I thought that was interesting after 2 dirt races. Mind you, none of them were fast main tracks. But then against a tough allowance group, more than likely, even if it was on the turf, he probably would have struggled anyway, because this is my belief. A race that stays on, Tom Amos must have thought that this horse was a race that's taken off. Tom Amos must have thought this horse can still compete. Obviously, otherwise he wouldn't have kept him in. He didn't compete, which leads me to believe if Amos thought that he could compete at Churchill Downs back on June 3rd, that even on the turf he wasn't going to his first start on the surface. So I just think that claiming 50,000 at Churchill Downs 2 starts back and in its final start for Eddie Keneally isn't that much different than this, to be quite honest with you. He just meets the condition of all the claiming price of 50,000 or less, that he's at that final level. He can't run. First of all, they don't really run claiming races for more than 50. But basically what that means is he was at the peak of this condition, and he did it easily. If he takes to the turf at all, he's going to be tough to beat. And then we kind of have your horse that I'm also using that we kind of know what we're getting. It's Rob Atras, it's Irad Ortiz. I mean, that's the horse that's supposed to win, to be quite honest with you. Unless Convection is just a freak on the turf, which I don't anticipate, because they probably would have scratched him out last time out. So I'll throw it to you about the 1 Montauk Daddy, but I'm going short here because I'm going really, really deep towards the back end. But I thought we can get away with the 1 and the 3 here, so I'll let you talk about the Rob Atras training.
Yeah, so Rob Atras with the number 1 Montauk Daddy, and I think what you were getting ready to say until you kind of stopped yourself and realized I picked the horse on top is if Montauk Daddy runs back to either one of those last 2 races, they're running for second, right? I mean, that's what. Yeah, I mean, the one thing you could say is, okay, sure, he's been in the lead 2 straight times and he lost it, but he's lost it to horses that are better than what he's facing here. I also think the rider change is going to be, a big upgrade. And that's no slap in the face to Kinder Carmouche, but, Irad, I think, is just a little bit better. So I think that's going to be an upgrade as well. You're right. He's supposed to win this race. If he doesn't, it's either A, he got out of the gate really poorly and didn't get that trip that he wanted, or B, he just isn't very good. I mean, it's got to be one of the 2, right? Because he should win this race. There's really no excuses. You look at the other speed. I don't know. I don't think there's much else in here. So yeah, I'm Montauk Daddy all the way. I'm with you on the 3. I like the 3. I also thought the 8 was interesting. Last time out, first time on the turf in a maiden claiming event, won by a length. It's Clement. It's Manny Franco. I know this is going to be a little bit of a step up, first time against winners, but I liked what I saw from the horse a little bit there. I also, the 5, another one having to step up in class, but 2 wins in a row. And maybe it's that other kind of speed where if Montauk Daddy doesn't show that speed, something happens. Maybe the 5 gets the trip. But I'm with you. I think the top 2 are the 1 and the 3 here. Let's see. We've got some comments here. That's from the Whitney. Let's see this one. I like the 1 and the 8. If the 1 runs, the horse wins, but I have to use a horse that is a closer, 1-for-1 turf, and 5 and 9. And I hope press the 1. So he likes the Dennis likes the 8. Yeah, that's the one I kind of talked about there. I'm with you. Do you look at it kind of if I'm going to beat the 1, I do want a closer in the spot, Ricky?
Not really. First of all, I don't qualify as the 8 as a closer for starters. I mean, last time out in the only turf start was only 3 lengths off. I don't qualify. What it was? Do you think that horse is a closer?
I think in this race, the horse will sit 6th, 7th. Yeah.
Oh, so I'm anticipating a much closer start. I didn't know why your head was down. I wasn't sure if you were mad.
I was looking at my phone. That's why my head was down.
Oh, okay. I thought you were mad at my not a closer statement.
Nah.
It's also let's be realistic, right? If this horse takes money, it's because of its Clement. I'll be brutally honest with you. A 40,000 maiden claimer is not supposed to step up and win a starter allowance race. He's just not. He's really just not. The other thing that's interesting, as far as I know, and maybe you can confirm, Clement's had this horse the whole time, I believe, correct?
Mm-hmm.
It took 4 starts to get him to the turf, and Christophe Clement is a better turf trainer than dirt trainer. I'm sure he'd be the first one to tell you that. It kind of seemed like it was a dartboard type of thing where it's like, all right, we'll throw a dart. We'll see what happens. It worked out. Now people are going to play him. I mean, people were playing this horse, Aaron, at all the other odds, except for his debut back in October of last year, but they were playing him in second time out. They were playing him next time. I just think he just found a weaker field, to be quite honest. I put the 8 in 4th. So it's not like I'm not using, I don't consider the horse a runner, but I would be very, very careful of using this horse at a short price. I actually wanted to talk about the 9 a little bit. Javier Castellano going to get aboard for Kelly Breen and Wild William. And I'll throw this to you. I mean, some of the last races weren't very good. Those were state bred allowance races. If we go back to the 2 claiming races, one of which was at this track, the horse won. And the starter allowance fits somewhere in the middle. Now, you want to talk about a closer? I don't know where he's going to fit. This horse is interesting, right? Because in those races, he showed speed. We talk about it all the time. Maybe he showed speed because he was just better. You usually see horses that don't have speed. They show it because they're just more talented. It is what it is. But then most recently, his horses come from off the pace. Maybe the one last time out in first off the layoff was close and then fell off. I think that's a horse that makes a lot more sense if you're not going to use the 1 and the 3. Just because I'm getting a better price. To be honest with you, I'm probably getting a better rider. And Kelly Breen has done a nice job here. Not as good as Clement, but I'll take 8-1 over 7-2. And again, we don't know what the 8 is in terms of where his potential is. We do know what the 9 is. And I think the 9 is good enough here. Again, this starter allowance fits in between his races 3 and 4 back and his races 1 and 2 back. So at least, again, we'll see if he's good enough, but I'll take the 8-1 if I thought I needed to use more than these 2. So that's where I'm at.
Another horse Vinny mentioned for underneath was the 11 Christopher, a horse getting back to the turf after 3 straight races on the dirt. I didn't really think about this one much, but of course, I'm looking at this as who's gonna win, who do I want to bet to win. I don't think that's a candidate. And of course, you're doing the pick 4s, not looking for horses to hit the board. I think at a price, that horse does make a little bit of sense. I think, you look at his turf races, they're pretty solid. It's just been a long time since we've seen him on the turf. So we'll see what happens there. More kind of love for your 3. Could sit a perfect pocket trip inside the 1 and 5. That's kind of where I'm at. I don't view the 3 as a closer, really. I view him as kind of that mid-pack horse. Only thing with him, 3-year-old facing older, but he's been doing it. So it's kind of give and take, right? It's like he's got some negatives. I think the biggest negative for me is I want a little better price than 92 on this horse. And maybe we get it. Maybe Montauk Daddy gets bet down. Like I said, maybe Clement takes money. I think he's a good use at like 6-1. I don't know about 9-2.
Well, I am not, for the record, I am not a fan of the 11 at all. So we'll just leave it there. For I don't need to get into that one. But we were only able to get Eric Consell. Ricardo's not in the race. Joel's not in the race. I'm not sure what that's about. Now, for the record, maybe Consell got on this horse early in terms of maybe he made those connections early before Tom really thought about using someone else. But, I mean, I still think Eric Consell is more than capable of getting the job done. Don't go by his percentage. He's a solid rider. It's just, I mean, he's not in the group. There's 2 that I'm looking at before we move on. Jalen Samuel and Rodriguez Castro. Wouldn't bet free money with those 2. I don't mind betting Consell. We'll see if the 3 is good enough. I'm with you. I don't think 9-2 is that far off what you would take him at. So I'm okay with it. Like, he's not going to be 3-1. And Amos has been pretty live for the most part here. So we'll see. This is a tough race. But again, I think we agree. But as we wrap up, this goes through the 1. I mean, if he runs his best race, he's supposed to win. I'm not going to beat around the bush.
Yeah, I think you're right. And it's just going to be, can somebody press and then pick up the pieces? I really don't think so. Before we move on, I have let's answer this question. Curious about the thoughts of the Grand Slam wager. I think they do it at all NYRA tracks, not just Saratoga. Have you ever played this? Have you ever played the Grand Slam?
I never have.
I don't either.
What is it? Like, do you have to do the top 6?
I think what happens is it's 4 races. You got to pick a show horse, a show horse, a show horse, and then a winner in the last. But you can play it like a pick 4 where you can use combinations and stuff like that. I've never done it. It kind of breaks up. If you want to do something a little different, it just doesn't pay very much. That's been my kind of when I've been looking at the payouts. It doesn't pay a ton.
All right, so I apologize. I have to look this up. I've heard it, never played it. So it requires you to pick a horse to finish in the first 3 in 3 consecutive races, right? And then the winner in the last.
Yeah.
So what does that start in race 7, I guess?
Race 6 through 9, I think today is where it starts.
Oh, so it's not even like in a normal sequence. They could just place it 3 through 6 if they want to. Yeah, I have no interest. If that were the case, which I'm never going to play that wager, I promise, I would consider using the 9 in this spot. I don't know if I only have to get 3rd, right? I don't really know.
Like the strategy of it, and Jared just texted me. He reminded me the day the American Pharoah won the Triple Crown, we played it actually, and I think we hit it, and it wasn't for much. But the strategy behind it is if there's a favorite or two that you don't think is going to hit the board, you take your shots. You try to beat those horses. That's where you could kind of make it pay. I mean it's a fun wager to kind of break up the monotony. I don't think it's a wager you take serious is the way I would look at that one. It's just kind of hey, this is a fun thing to do. Don't invest a ton of money into it. But, if you like to bet horses to show, you like to pick horses that are going to finish 3rd, and you kind of have a knack for beating a favorite or two, it's not like it can't pay anything.
No, I get that. The problem with it is how many favorites in a race do you realistically look at and say they're going to finish off the board? That's what gets scary. So
there you go. Vinny's saying play as many combinations as possible and single the horse in the last leg. And then, you do need to beat a favorite. It doesn't pay great. So it sounds like Vinny and Dennis both have played it. Vinny's saying, or Dennis said he hit it for $58. So, I don't think it's a bad wager. Just be responsible. Like, don't put $100 ticket together is my recommendation. Try to keep the ticket price short, try to beat a favorite or two on those shows. And, if it sets up well for a sequence, I have not analyzed today, but if you see that setup, I don't think it's the worst play to make.
I don't think anyone wants to know my recommendation, so I'm going to hold it to myself.
Ricky says, don't do it. It's stupid. If you're a degenerate, it's the only way you should play it. So let's move on to race 8 on the card.
It's far off.
I know. We're in stakes company here. The Shine Again Stakes, pretty good field of 6, going 7 furlongs, $120,000 purse. Fillies, mares, and Upward, which have not won a sweepstake in 2021 other than State Bred. So a conditioned stakes here, kind of similar to what you see in the Curlin, different conditions, but a conditioned stake nonetheless. Field of 6, heavy favorite. Well, heavy 2 choices here, Ant Cat and Bayerness. Where'd you go, Ricky?
I mean, I'm going to use the 2 on Cat, but I'll let you talk about her. I thought Casual was interesting. I know she hasn't won recently, dating back to the beginning of the year at year. Is it fair to say Oaklawn's your second favorite track behind Saratoga? I think that's fair, right? Yep. I was going to say top 3 with maybe Delmar, but I'm pretty sure Oaklawn is above Delmar for you. Losing to Chubwagon, Edgeway, and Kamari. You know what? That's enough for me to include on the ticket, to be quite honest with you. Now, again, if you want to make the case that she hasn't won, that's fine. I can't argue that. But those are horses that are all better than this group, like a lot better. And she didn't embarrass herself. She finished 2nd in all those. In the 3rd was to Frank. Oh, sorry. She lost to Frank's Rocket as well, who would also beat this group. So with that being said, 4 months till Oaklawn. Is that accurate?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they started early this year, right? They're going to start in November, right? Or December, whatever.
December 3rd.
December 3rd. I know where you're going to be on December 3rd. I just think that's too much. And if you're looking at the regular past performances like I am, I know Aaron uses time form. It's a little different. Chubwagon and Kamari are italicized, which means they're next out winners in whatever respective race that they went in. They won that race as well. So clearly she's coming out of 2 tough races. I'm with you on a 2 and the 4. I don't think the 1 is going to come back to bite me. I'm interested to see what you think. I just like her better at 6 furlongs, personally, Bayerness. I think this is a little tough. Her mile in the 16th races, granted, there were the Kentucky Oaks and Indiana Oaks. She sucked. The Dogwood, she sucked.
Yep.
I just think she's much better at 6 or 7, and it's weird because she doesn't have the lead. So I just think she needs the perfect setup. She lost to a horse, Estilo Talentoso from Gulfstream, who I've quickly fallen out of love with. I don't like her really that much anymore. And what was her excuse in the regret? I mean, you're 2-5. You're supposed to win that race.
Yep.
So that's where I'm at. I think the 2 and the 4 are much better, and I'll let you talk about Aunt Cat, who seems to be like a budding superstar filly at this moment in time.
100% with you. I used the 2 and the 4 as well. Did not use the 1 in the pick 4. So I'm 1,000% with you there. Just to kind of pile on the casuals bandwagon, man, I'm with you. You know, you lost to Chubwagon. Big deal. Everybody's losing to Chubwagon. You lost to Edgeway, Frank Raquette, Kamari. I mean, my goodness, this horse has been up against the toughest horses in the crop basically her whole career. This is definitely a drop down in class. Now, the problem is, unlucky for casual, she does have to face Aunt Cat, who has been fantastic. These last 3 races have been really good. I think if she runs her best race, I don't think casual can beat her, especially when the pace setup looks to favor the 2 pretty strongly here. I don't see another horse that's going to really press Aunt Cat early. And kind of to Vinny's point, Junior Alvarado is my boy. He is ice cold. Honestly, I almost look at this as he's got to do something wrong here. Like maybe he doesn't go out in front for quite far enough and casual stays in the race and beats him. I just think if it plays out how it looks on paper, she's just going to be tough to run down, especially since she looks to be the best horse anyway from a speed figure standpoint. So I'm with Aunt Cat on top. I am totally with you playing casual. Quick note on Steve Asmussen, who was 2 wins away from tying the all-time record for North American wins as a trainer. He has 2 horses running today. One is in the second race, maiden claiming horse that, I don't know, kind of looks like a long shot. And here he's got a shot. So kind of keep an eye on that. He only has 2 horses entered today all over the country, and it's right here at Saratoga. So he could possibly tie the record. Casual could do that for him today.
He doesn't have any other runners across the country?
He has no other runners. This is very strange. No other runners across the country today and none tomorrow. And then he's got 2 on Friday. So that's kind of the up-the-minute look. He's likely to break this thing this weekend. It's just going to be where, because he's got horses at Louisiana Downs Saturday, Ellis on Saturday, and there at Saratoga, I'm sure he will have a few, more than a few as well. So it's going to happen this weekend, most likely.
Yeah, it'll happen this weekend because he's got a legitimate shot with casual. So,
yep.
Again, the maiden claimer, I don't know off the top of my head, but I'd be shocked that by the time I bring you to the airport on Sunday at whatever time, well, actually, you're going to be Ubering to the airport because I'm going to the track. But whenever you go to the airport with Jared, he'll have broken it. I'd be shocked if he hadn't by the time you take off on Sunday. So, no, which is going to be cool. I think they'll probably honor him regardless. Even if it's not done at Saratoga, I'm sure they'll make an announcement either way. I'd be shocked if they didn't.
Yeah. Let's hope it is at Saratoga where he breaks it. And no offense to Louisiana Downs or Ellis, but let's hope it's at Saratoga when he gets it.
This is where we differ. You say no offense. I say plenty of offense. It shouldn't be done there. It should be done at a legitimate track that people die to get to. Saratoga, Del Mar, Churchill Downs shouldn't be done there. Shouldn't be done at Indiana Grand. Sorry. Should be done at Churchill Downs, one of the bigger tracks, Gulfstream maybe, whatever. But this is an interesting field. I was a little shocked to see the 1 and anyone else chime in. I'm not sure why she's 8-5. What race would I look at to point to her at 8-5? I just don't see it, to be quite honest with you. Maybe I'm just reading it wrong. I never thought Honey I'm Good is great. Her race in the Bed of Roses was better than her last race as far as I'm concerned. She lost to Lake Avenue, who we've seen already run here at Saratoga, run pretty well, I believe. And Steel Talentoso is still a nice horse from Gulfstream. Mind you, she has 2/3 at this distance, and she hasn't run on a fast track once this year. I don't think I've seen that in a while. Maybe she's just a freak on the fast surface, but I don't know. She's a throwout for you, isn't she? Like a complete throwout.
Yeah, well, as far as winning the race, I don't see a path for her. I see two horses that are clearly better, and if this horse is really going to be 8-5, which listen, I've read articles where she's the headline horse in the article, on DRF, and I think the press release had her as the headline horse. I'm with you. I see two horses that are clearly better than the one. If the 2 or the 4 lose to the 1, I'll be pretty surprised. So no, I'm not with her. If you were going to try to beat those horses, I would look to maybe the 6, Whispering Pines, perhaps coming off Allowance win at Belmont. Don't get me wrong. I'm not using the 6 in the pick 4. I really don't think the 6 can win, but that's kind of, if I'm going to try to take a shot, I would take it with the price. I would not play the 1 in the spot. No.
Yeah, I'm completely with you there.
And I'm with you. I just don't understand the odds there. But I don't know. Maybe we'll see. I guess the last point, maybe it's Saez. Maybe they're thinking that he's going to get bet, but I just don't see it happening. But another thing, the last point, I'm with you. The 6 furlongs. If it's 6 furlongs, I think Bayoness has a much better shot than 7. I don't like her at 7 at all. So I think we're totally right. Or hopefully we're right. But we totally agree. The 2 and the 4, those are the 2 to use here. So let's move on, though. Race 8, I think here we get a little bit more of a wide open race. Race 9, I'm sorry. We're back on the turf, on the inner turf. Allowance optional claimant for $100,000 going a mile and an eighth, $110,000 purse. We've got a field here. Obviously, Impetuors, the 4 and the 6 are out, but it's still a pretty solid, evenly matched field of 7 left. Kind of tell us where you're leaning here.
Yeah, I thought the 1 NYC was interesting. If you take the race 2 back, let's start 3 back. We'll go in order. 3 back, I thought it was good enough to win. Just missed out by a neck there, which is a little weaker than this group. Then wins the next time out, and then we see him in the Knickerbocker. And he wasn't bad. Devamani and Olympico are 2 nice horses that, especially they were good last year. And then this is the first time we're seeing him this year. If the layoff is a concern, I don't really think it needs to be with Todd Pletcher. He's waited long enough. I mean, he's waited almost 10 months now. Yep. So if the horse wasn't ready, he wouldn't push him here. I think this horse just makes sense. Again, there's plenty of room into the first turn, so I'm not worried about the rail nearly as much. The 2 is another horse, Lil Impetuor. I'm sure I'm saying it properly since it's a French horse. Debuts in the Saranac in this country. You know what? It wasn't great, but we got to give these horses that come over a little bit of leeway. This is a much softer group. This isn't the best allowance optional 100,000 claiming group, which, to be honest, really should be a stakes race. Chad Brown's now had almost a little over 11 months with this horse. He drops the horse in class. You're getting 5-1 on Chad Brown. I'm not passing that up. We've seen too many times this meet where he has prices that don't look great on paper and they win, as opposed to some of these shorter prices. And then I'm going with the 7, who I'll let you talk about, who is supposed to win again. And if you get 7-2, I think it's a fantastic price, by the way.
Yeah, that's why I couldn't really pass up the 7 Bodie Cream as my top choice. I just looked at this and thought, wow, there's no way that horse should be 7-2. This horse is easily the most consistent horse in the race, not only as far as performances, but a lot of horses are coming off layoffs or that they have long breaks. This horse is just, consistently running, every 30, 40 days. I get, you look at it and say, well, hasn't won on the turf in a while, but man, been really close and been close against horses I think that are better than what he's going to face in the spot. Last time out off the turf, Allowance, won. But, you look like 4 races back, lost to Syaf. I think he would win this race. 3 races back, lost to Winner's Back. I think he would win this race. So I think Bodie Cream makes a lot of sense. Plus, you've got Mike Maker, who just can't seem to do anything wrong lately. Tyler Gaffleone, kind of much of the same. I think the horse gets a nice stalking trip, maybe second and third behind a couple of the front runners, and just kind of makes his move at the top of the stretch and gets it done. Again, I'm really hoping for that 7-2 price. That would be great. Other horses that I kind of thought about. I thought about the 2. I'm a little worried about the layoff for the 2. I know Chad Brown is pretty good off layoffs, but this horse just doesn't seem to ever put 2 races in a row together. I mean, runs a race and then's off for over 100 days. So that's kind of, I don't know, that's kind of worrisome. Dennis says thoughts on the 3. That's who I put in third, actually. I kind of think it's a situation where the horse is going to get in front today. I think the pace setup kind of makes sense for the 3. I think if he does, he will be tough to pass down the stretch, but I think somebody eventually is going to get by that 3. But I do look at him hanging around for a long time and kind of having a shot there at the end, and coming down to who's really closing, and is anybody closing strongly? If so, I think they get by him, but I do think he can take them a long ways. Anybody else you want to talk about here, Ricky?
Well, just for me on the 3, who I did put in fourth. If we look at his last 6 races, again, group of 6, that's what I like to focus in on. I'm looking, and he's passed 2 horses.
Yep.
That's a problem, because last time out he was third, finished third. Second, finished third. Second, finished second. Third, finished first. So he passed 2. Mind you, he only made up 2 lengths. First to first, fourth to fifth. Why is it every time? Hey, you know what? It is what it is. Again, I don't think the horse is impossible, but on talent, I mean, think about this for a minute, Dennis. The 3 back at Belmont Keeneland in 2020 goes off at 11, almost 12-1, and 74-1. He wins 2 races.
Yep.
In his last 3 races, he's taken money and hasn't won one of them. So, as a wise man once told me, what did Mike Somich say? You don't want to miss the wedding and pay for the funeral, or whatever the hell.
You didn't go to the wedding, you shouldn't go to the funeral.
Right. Okay. Something with weddings and funerals. Yeah. Again, I don't go to weddings and funerals. I'm too young. I guess it's like the same thing here. Like, this horse is going to be a short price. It's Javier. It's George Weaver, who, even though he's not doing great at the meet, still demands a lot of respect, as he should, for a horse that doesn't pass anyone. I'm with you. And to be honest, you brought up the pace perspective. Who's to say the 1's not in front, breaking from the rail? So you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not even sure. Like, if you were like, all right, this horse is speed, guaranteed speed. All right, at least we got to factor that in. I'm not even sure if he's guaranteed speed. So he's not better than the 1, who I think is more talented. I'm pretty sure you would agree.
Mm-hmm.
So what is he? Where does he fit in? That's just my problem. And again, if you're going to give me Chad Brown at 5-1 versus George Weaver at 4-1, when I think the horses are probably similar, mind you, I'll get Irad over Javier. I'm going to lean that way. And again, the 7 is a very square 7-2. I mean, that's fantastic if you can get that price. I'm completely with you on that, and I understand why that would be your win bet based on these morning line odds.
Yeah. So Manu chimes in and told us how to say the 2 there. That's how you say the 2's name. I still don't know how to say it, even though he says that.
Lil Impetuor. Yeah, okay. So this is what I did a lot of deep dive into why racing dudes struggles with names, excluding me. First of all, the 2 Midwest guys, so you and Jared, I get it. The culture's not there. How did I say that wrong? I don't. There was a U and H and an N. There can't be an N thrown in there because there's no N in the name. I get why you guys don't pronounce the French names. There's probably one French person in your entire county, so I don't blame you. Some of the I can't speak for everyone else, but I can speak for you. I could understand why the Italian, the German, the French names would get you. You know, being in New York, there's just you see a lot of different things. No, Manu, don't give up. If you know the way how to say it, let's make this happen. I don't know how to say it, but you got to. There's a French accent in there somewhere. I don't know how to quite say it, but don't give up. We're gonna again. What they should have the pronunciation of these horses underneath. So because there are people that work at the track that get it wrong too. By the way, it's not like they're perfect either. So.
There you go. There's the summary of that. I kind of blinked out. I wasn't listeling. I would. Let's see.
Through a 5-yard out route. I know.
Hold on. I'm going to tell you how I would say that name. Let's see. Limperator. Limperator is how I would say that name.
I guarantee you that's wrong.
Man, is that how you say it? Limperator?
Yeah, that's definitely not it. I'm not saying I'm right, but I know for a fact that's wrong. You know what it's like? You can't.
It's Limperator. Yeah, Limperator. That's.
It's definitely not that. How would you say the one?
The one.
And I know how
NEC.
Stop. Now you're just making things up. You wouldn't say it like that. How would you say the one's name? Anyone chime in?
I would say NYC. NYC.
NYC, like New York City. Yeah, he's not. Yeah, this is why I can't listen to you when it comes to names. It's so bad.
All right, let's move on to the 10th race.
Yeah.
I think we've covered that one well enough. All right, so 10th and final, one of our fun races that we always like to talk about. But you know what? It's a lot better. It's a starter allowance is how we're ending today's card. That's great. So starter allowance on the turf going 1 mile and 1/16 for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upward. We've got the 3 scratched. We've got the 7 scratched, the 13, the 15, and the 16. Still a large field here, Ricky. I thought this was the most wide open race. Where'd you go here?
Before I get into it, let's keep this comment up, by the way, because I'm not letting it go. So I thought this was really interesting. I thought this was by far the toughest of the 4 races. And you're nodding your head because you agree. I mean, this is really, really tough. Shout out to Saratoga for not putting a maiden claimer in there. Don't get me started on the Magic Mike show. I cry when I hear some of these names. Oh my gosh, on that show or wherever. Oh my gosh, don't even get me started. I guess I'll just go in order because you used the 2 who I've now elevated because the 7 Mapolka is out. I thought the 8 evidence-based was interesting. Getting back to the turf, I thought was a move that makes sense. I'm not really sure why they kept this horse out there last time out. Aaron, can you explain it to me? Because I can't. There's only turf pedigree with this horse.
I have no idea. It was one of those things where the horse stayed in, and it's like, well, maybe they know something we don't. You know, well, they didn't. They clearly did not.
And mind you, if you look at this horse, I mean, debuts against Demodog, Speightstown Churl, Norma GB. I mean, those are nice horses. And then comes back and wins at a very short price for Chad Brown. Chad, for the record, I'm not telling Wayne Potts and Robert Photos. Maybe it's Photos. Maybe it's a Greek name, Photos. Either way, Chad Brown had this horse on the turf. You might want to realize that this is a turf horse. Just throwing that out there. Okay. The 10 Ocean Air. I mean, what's her excuse in this race? Is there, other than the fact she just likes to finish second? I mean, she's supposed to be competitive.
Yep.
Clement, Irad Ortiz. Again, 7-2 is a square and a fair price. I think that makes sense. The 11, you're going to have to scroll down a little because I'm using these last 2. Clatta's Run. I think Clatta's is proper. Declaration of War makes sense. I'm not sure if this horse really fits, but she has 1-2 in a row. And we can poke holes in a lot of the other horses. I don't know. Maybe picks up pieces on the turf. Speed has done better. but at the beginning of the meet, you didn't want speed at all. And again, this is a brand new week. We've harped on this for 3 straight weeks now, going into our 4th. Things change very, very much. It's going to be a firm turf course. It hasn't rained in a while. Who knows? I'll admit, going to be a long shot, and I don't want her anything short of 15-1. I hope she actually creeps up. But I'll take a horse off 2 in a row for George Weaver. I know Tampa Bay is not nearly as good as the Naira tracks. I get it. And the 12, ho, 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 ho. Yes, that is a Christmas reference. I don't even know how to say that. I mean, I'll let you take a shot. I mean, I don't even know how to. I would just say ho, 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 ho. I mean, I don't even know how to say that one. Again, if you like Ocean Air, you should really like this one, because this horse ran a better race, had the lead, and lost it. Mind you, and they went 47-2. That's, pretty quick for these horses. I don't know. Again, I think the 10 really didn't have any excuse. She didn't really do anything. At least the 12 is going to take it to this field. And Dylan Davis is more than capable. Dylan Davis, I have to say, maybe you agree or disagree, he's had a pretty good meet, I think, for limited starters. He's done well. He's finished in the money, according to when I downloaded this, 17 out of 51 times. That comes out to 33% on the dot. So, more than capable. I think this was wide open, and this is where you get a price to me. Mind you, I was using the 7 Mapolka on top, who was a 10-1 morning line. So that's kind of where I'm at. There was one other horse that I didn't talk about that I'll let you talk about, and that is the 2, Be Up. That is the Jonathan Thomas, Luis Saez runner.
Yeah, so, Dennis kind of mentions the 2 a little bit as you were talking, and then Vinny says 2, 5, 10, 12, no particular order. I'll go ahead and put the 2 in the winner's circle here, hopefully, right? So I love the 8-1 price, number one. I'm kind of with you on a few of your runners that you talked about. It's a situation, though. We got a pretty good idea of what they are. They're not great. They're not bad. These are not bad horses. I'm not slamming them, but they're not ones you really can rely on. You look at the 2 Be Up, only 2 starts. On debut, $40,000 maiden claiming at Delaware, won pretty impressively. I really got a lot out of her last race, though. She moved up to Stakes Company off of that win, which that's a big jump, right? Didn't embarrass herself. Got out kind of towards the lead, ended up getting 4th, beating 4 lengths, but that was a pretty good start, first out against winners. Now we're second out against winners. Now we're against a little bit easier of a field. I'm going to speculate that speed is pretty good today on the turf because of the lack of rain that we've had. We don't know that for a fact yet, but I'm going to speculate that that's the case. I think she can get out there, drawn inside of the 12 so much that I think she could win the race into the first turn, so to speak, save the ground. Even if the 12 kind of goes out and gets ahead of her, I think she's better, or not better, but faster than all the other horses in the race. I think she can just kind of sit right behind the 12 if need be and be the first run into the turn. I think this horse could pull the upset at 8-1. I'm pretty excited to play her. I do think she'll get bet a little bit. I don't think we're going to get 8-1 completely on her, but I do think you're going to get a decent price because I'm with you. You look at the 10 Ocean Air, it's hers to lose, but it's kind of been hers to lose 2 or 3 times, and sometimes she just does. She's just not a horse that's going to have that strong finish. She's going to be there at the end, and if she can kind of win the photo, or if nobody really comes, behind her, then she's got a shot to win it. But she's kind of scary to play at 7-2, and I think she'll be the one that gets bet down. So let's see. I use the 2, the 10, the 5. I don't know. For an underneath situation, I thought the 6 was kind of interesting. Maiden claiming race last time out, first start in over almost a year, first start on the turf, and won and did it pretty professionally. I think this filly's going to get too far behind here, so I would not play the horse on top or play even what you're doing, Ricky, with your multis. But underneath in a try at a big number, I think the 6 makes a little bit of sense. You've got to think that the 6 is going to move forward off of that race, being second off the layoff. I think 2 turns is ultimately what this horse wants to do from a pedigree standpoint. I just think the 6 is someone I kind of wanted to mention as an underneath horse who could really make this thing pay. That's kind of the one I would use underneath. Anybody else here you want to talk about?
I want to talk about I didn't use the 5 or the 6, but I'm with you. The 5 is going to be way too short of a price.
Yep.
The 6 is interesting. Again, second off the layoff. Again, I'm not questioning anyone, but why is this horse debuting on the dirt? I just don't get it. I'm sorry. Maybe
Yep.
I'm just overthinking these things, or I should say underthinking these things. But it's like, if I'm giving you, Aaron, and I'm just saying, hey, I'm giving you a free horse. You don't know how good or how bad she's going to be, he or she. You have no idea whether the horse is 6 or 2. But I do tell you that the horse is the Kitten's Joy, a Noble Mission, More Than Ready, an English Channel. Your first instinct should be turf.
Right.
Whether it's 5,000 claimers or the Sword Dancer. I mean, come on. Like, I don't understand. Outside of, we don't care what happens, we just want to get her experience. Okay, fine. And if you want to do that, then still debut her on the turf. I never understood that thinking. And no surprise, she comes back and wins. So I'm with you on the 6. You're right. It's a big step up.
Yeah.
And her odds indicated she was supposed to win. The 5, we saw this horse on the turf twice last year. Did she get better as a 5-year-old? I mean, you have to say it, right? Realistically, she has to be better than what she was last year, because those performances are not good enough to win here. Now, mind you, Robin Sparkles, I've never seen a horse do what she's doing, because Robin Sparkles was a maiden claimer winner. Robin Sparkles just lost, not last week, I think 2 weeks ago, when I had to fly down to Florida. Right? Didn't she lose to Caravel?
Yep, she did.
Okay. That horse started off as a maiden claimer and was running, in, which I've never seen, I don't think, before, to have that much success. But then what was her excuse in the Princess Fawzia race? I just look at her, right, and it's like, I don't need to choke down a short price when I have questions. And again, unless she got significantly better, you're betting the Pletcher Jose Ortiz angle. I don't want to do that at a short price when I don't really like the horse, because again, no one take this seriously, but if I were to give you Jimmy Ryerson and Jose Lescano, that horse is not 4-1 on the morning line. That horse is 10-1 at least. So, Unfortunately, I didn't mean to pick out Jimmy Ryerson. I'm just looking here. I can pick out George Weaver, Manny Franco. Like, I don't know. I was just picking. Are you against the 5 like I am, or would you use her in my sequence? Not in Exacta Tri Supers, but in my sequence, would you use her? I don't see her as a win candidate at all.
I would not use her in what you were doing. I would use her in Exactus Tries for sure. I think that's a horse that will take money because of you, as you laid out, the connections, and is beatable. That's a horse that's going to be every bit of 4-1, maybe 3-1 even. And it's like, yeah, I don't think that horse is as good as even some of the other ones that I don't even like that well, like the 10. Like, I don't think the 5 can beat the 10. And if they're similar prices, I'll take the 10 all day. Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I think in this race, you need to play against a horse like the 5 and the multis, and if, especially a win wager would be almost even harder to play, because I just think you got to look for some value here, and I think that's what the 2 is going to provide. And I don't see the 5, like I said, with those connections, gonna take money. And I just think this horse is going to get bet down even harder. Yeah, this is just a race. You could talk about a lot of them. It is a much better race from a quality standpoint, than what we're used to for the last race that we usually get to talk about. But yeah, it's wide open, no doubt about it. All right, let's recap your ticket there, Ricky. I'll recap mine, and then we'll talk steeplechase to end the show.
Yeah, I guess it's time to get the dartboard out. Race 7. Yeah, I just went 1 and 3. I think Montauk Daddy, to your point, I shouldn't say to your point, to both of our points, that's the horse that's supposed to win. I just don't really know what convection is. So I think I can get a decent price. Again, I think 9-2 on the morning line. You said you didn't want 6-1 or less. I think we can get 9-2 or higher, which is good enough for me. So I went too deep there. Then I went with the 2 and the 4. Aunt Cat might be a freak. I don't know. I mean, she seems to be really, really good as a 4-year-old, and only getting better. And the 4 Casual lost again to horses that are way classier than this group. Again, maybe I'm just rooting for Steve Ashbuston in the back of my mind as well, but I went 2 and 4. And then 9th, I went with the 1, 2, and 7. Aaron and I are on the same about the 7. Finally got the job done last time out over a sloppy track, so we're going to try that on the turf. But I think 2 horses off the layoffs, the 1 and the 2 makes sense as well. And then the last one, this is the dartboard race. We're going to try to hit a price. I'm using Aaron's horse, the 2 Be Up, the 8 evidence-based, who's getting back to the turf, all turf pedigree, mind you, the 10 Oceanair, the 11 Clada's Run, and the 12, I'm going to try this again. Ho, 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 ho. I guess like Santa Claus would say. I don't know. I'm guessing. It's only a $30 ticket, so definitely one of the cheaper tickets that I'm probably going to play this meet. I just see it being very chalky until the end. Mind you, I could easily see singling like Aunt Cat potentially. I don't like to play $3 pick 4s and things like that, but if you want to get really aggressive, I could see you even limiting it more potentially, or with a 1 in the first race. So it's 2 by 2 by 3 by 5. That's a $60 divided by 2 for 50 cents. And so it's a $30 ticket, races 7 through 10.
All right, yeah, $10 to win on the 1. Montauk Daddy to start it off for me. I just think the horse gets to the front and is hard to catch. Race 8, I debated Casual for a long time, putting that horse on top. I may really be kicking myself if Casual wins that race. But I did go with Aunt Cat on top. That's where the win wager's going. I just think this horse, she looks pretty darn good. Race 10, I went with number 7, Bodie Cream. I'm really hoping we get 7-2. I think this horse should be the favorite. Great connections as well as far as the Saratoga meeting is going. And I think the horse is one of like the best horse in the race, simply put. So 7-2 would be great. Then I went with the 2 Be Up in the finale. Another $10 win wager. Listen, this horse is 8-1. I think we're going to see him take some money, but I think we're getting around 4 or 5-1 on this horse, and I'm excited about it. I think there's a lot of upside there with her. So $40 invested for me. I went $10 to win on all 4 of them. I kind of like them all equally today. So yeah, $40 and the 30. I think that's a pretty good number for the pick 4. I think you're right. Could get chalky, especially early. All right, let's go to the steeplechase race. This is what everybody's waiting for. We got a field of 7. What are the conditions for this one? It's allowance. Allowance race going 2 and 1/16 miles. $65,000 purse for 4-year-olds and upward, which have never won 2 races. All right, Ricky, where are you going?
There's only one reason why I'm using the 3.
Okay.
Only one. You're going to laugh,
Okay.
but it's true. I remember this horse run at Keeneland last October as a legitimate turf horse. That's the only reason I'm using. That's it. I don't need to go any further. I like horses. I've said it at the very beginning of this meet. I like horses that transfer or translate longer turf races and become steeplechase horses. It's one of my favorite things. So that's what I'm going to do. That's why I'm using the 3. Nothing more, nothing less. Mind you, the 6 was like a dirt horse back in 2019. But this 3, I remember at Keeneland, Ritzy AP, a heck of a pedigree, by the way. English Channel by AP Indy. Fantastic. One of the better pedigrees you're going to see.
Yeah.
And I mean, Harrison Bestwick, what a ride that he gave at Colonial Downs on July 19th. I mean, what a heck of a ride. I have no idea if Harrison Bestwick is any good or not. But again, I like the horses that transfer over. I will recommend for probably the 1,000th time on the show, please do not wager your money on this race. This is the perfect time to go to Shake Shack if you're at the track, to go to the bathroom if you have to get a phone call out of the way, or you need to make an appointment, or you have to go pick this. That's exactly what this is. Do not bet your hard-earned money on this, because you have what you have happen last time, and you might have a horse fall down. So I will take the 3. Ritzy AP. He happens to be the morning line favorite, but if it was 100-1, I would have taken him as well, just because I like the Keeneland angle. And Harrison Bestwick, again, is just unbelievable.
There you go. There's your analysis of that race. Listen, The 7 won by 36 links last time out.
Yeah, that's enough. That's pretty good.
I'm going with the 7 to win. Listen, if the 7 stays up, we're winning this thing. We're going to go with the 7. So here, Manu says C double, bet Steeple, and the Grand Slam. So Ricky's doing both today, Manu. I'm sure of it.
I will never bet the Grand Slam in my life. Like, honestly, if there was like you can't bet horse racing again unless you only bet the Grand Slam, I will not bet horse racing again. I will never bet that bet ever. Mind you, it's not even like a normal sequence. It's like 6 through 9. That's 7 in the
only 2 horses finished the race. In a field of 7, 2 horses finished.
I want to read the comments of that race. Weekend fell second last. Lost rider. No factor pulled up. Pulled up. Tired pulled up.
They didn't have an excuse. They just were tired. They couldn't do it.
There are more horses that says pulled up than running lines. That's incredible.
Listen, 36 links. Doesn't matter.
Seriously, how could anyone with their hard-earned money bet this? No, I'm being serious. Like,
I have no idea.
Like, the last time we had someone come on here, I'm not mentioning names, we heard we had an angle. That horse still hasn't finished the race. I'm pretty sure technical analysis ran by that horse as they were finishing up. Yeah. Or we might see that horse today on the track finishing up. I mean, the fact this is even like a betting race is insanity to me. I get why they could take money and there'll be a lot of losers, but I'm pleading with everyone to not waste their time. Seriously, please don't waste your time. Don't waste your money. Again, go to Shake Shack. You're going to be a lot happier.
The 4 last time out was 33 links behind and won by 6. So that's crazy.
Oh, Silver Crescent?
Yeah.
Oh, I have 25 links behind. So, all right. All right, Dennis, who do you like? You gave us the winner. Who do you like?
Here you go. He got it. He's taking 135, 1356. It would be the 1 if he's going top pick.
All right, so let me destroy the 1 here. Okay, without destination. Okay, only second start on the hurdles. 1 last time out. No Saratoga races. No one, I guess, has any Saratoga races. Well, you know what? I really can't destroy this one. Kind of looks decent. Unfortunately, Todd Y and Eddie Keating just haven't been a good duo. I've heard a lot of things about this duo, so I just don't know if that's the duo you want to be playing. If I ran Eddie Keating over with my car, I'd have no idea who he was. Or if he ran me over with his car, I wouldn't know who. I would be able to recognize him either. No. I mean, this is nuts. The good thing about your 7, though, you get a 5-pound allowance with Richard Condon. That's huge. I get 156 with Harrison Beswick.
Who was the jockey that fell off? That's what I want to know. I'm never playing that jockey again. I can't remember his name. But
oh my gosh! When I went on Twitter and I saw people criticizing Steeple Chase jockey. Meanwhile, people they're afraid to get on horses. Now they're getting on horses that jump over obstacles, right? And I got to listen to this on Twitter. All right. So anyone else want to chime in with who they like? We have like a minute left before we hit the hour mark. There's one thing that I did want to ask you.
Oh, that jockey's on the 2 horse, Ricky. I'm not using them. Well, go ahead. What do you want to ask?
What would make you ever bet your money on this horse? I was just thinking, not on this horse, on this race. What would you have to see? Or is there nothing that you can see? Like in the running lines or like on the track where you're like, I have to bet this horse.
It's a tough situation because alcohol is the only thing that would make me bet this race. So
You
if
don't
they
have to
put
be
it,
drunk by 12:30. So.
if they put it on the 11th race, I think the handle would go up because I would bet it then. But there's no like I can't. I'm not as young as I used to be. I can't get there at noon or I guess to be 1 there and be drunk enough to bet it. I just can't. It would take 8 drinks, I would say.
Well, this is why they don't do it. It's because they have to set up the hurdles, and it probably takes a while to do that. Because mind you, race 2, dirt race, race 3, turf. It gives them like a legitimate 50 minutes to take the hurdles off. That's probably why.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Like if I found money on the floor, I don't give money to homeless people personally, and that's everyone's like this. I would give my money to the first homeless guy I saw before ever betting this.
Right.
Or I would go to Shake Shack, or I would use it as toilet paper. I would blow my nose in it. I would never. So if for anyone playing, good luck. I hope you guys win. Hopefully it's the 3, Ritzy AP, who just, again, Harrison Bestwick just rolls this field.
Yeah.
But I think that's going to do it. There are a few other notes, though.
Okay. Go ahead.
I don't know if anyone watched last night. I'll take this off.
Okay.
Boeheim's Army. Jim Boeheim with his second ring. I don't know if you want to count it as a ring, but I'm going to. He has the name to it. Of course, Aaron texted me and said Team 23 at halftime. Didn't hear from him after when they lost. Shocker. Just like
lost now.
Right. No, but I'm saying like you're the guy that when they're winning, I hear from you. When they're losing, I don't.
Right.
I don't hear from you. The other thing is look up Kiefer Sykes. This guy hit a game-winning shot. He played for Wisconsin Green Bay. You don't have to look him up, but anyone who's interested. He played for Wisconsin Green Bay, so he was one of the few guys that didn't play on Boeheim's Army or went to Syracuse prior to. And then he ended up getting a contract with the Indiana Pacers that he had held. He didn't say anything to anyone. So he's now going to be an Indiana Pacer for a year. So that's a really cool story as well. I have a few close friends that were on Boeheim's Army, so it was a good time all around. It officially closed out basketball for me until like October, November.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything cool that you saw last night?
Anything cool that I saw last night? No. No, I didn't watch anything. Nothing cool.
All right. And the other thing that I want to talk about that we already saw, it came from your good pal and my good pal as well, Jared Welsh. I'm looking for the comment. Can you help me find it? I want. Oh, here we go. Okay. Culture has nothing to do with your living situation. Culture has to do with what you've been exposed to. Now, for the longest time, I've always called myself an idiot. But Aaron knows that, when I have to deep think, I can, right? I think through things logically. Being in New York City, which now that Aaron and Jared have a better idea of where I live, I think it's fair to say New York City is accurate. It's literally 2 minutes away. Like you can walk over the George Washington Bridge and you're in New York City. That's what I meant by cultured, not experienced more. What I'm surrounded by. So I understand Jared probably took it a little personally coming from again, I make fun of Mahomes, he takes it personally. I make fun of the Chiefs, he takes it personally. It just has to do with where you guys live. I would agree if you said the same thing to me if you lived here and I lived in Missouri. So I just wanted to clear that up. If you live in a smaller area, which you guys do, it's not personal. It's just the region. It's nothing to do with you guys, just the region. Magic lives in California. There's much more culture there than Missouri. It's the same thing. It's, I don't know where Magic lives in California, though. But, probably near, probably better than me. So that I just wanted to clear that up.
Yeah, he lives in L.A., like the L.A. area.
Yeah, so L.A. County at least. Maybe not L.A. at the city, but L.A. County, which is a big county. So he's cultured.
Right.
That's part of the deal. Jared took it personally. Well, I'll have after I pick you guys up from the airport tomorrow, I'll apologize and make sure we could walk through this. Wait, if you're live and you've never seen it before, live, I play it though. If I'm confused, I don't know what that means. Do you know what that means?
I think he's talking about the steeplechase race. Like if you're there live and you've never seen one before, you play it. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Fair. That's fair. If you've never seen it before and you're really intrigued, you might put $2 down. But still, like, you can enjoy it, right? We enjoy it, and we don't bet on it, and we've seen it plenty of times. Dennis says the internet. Google it. I don't know what I'm Googling. All right. Yeah. Anything else you want to add before we wrap up? For 48 hours, mind you, we're not going to be on tomorrow.
Yeah, so tomorrow we'll be out. We'll be off for traveling tomorrow, so no show on Thursday. We'll be live from Saratoga on Friday. Thursday night, I'm guessing we're going to be live from Saratoga for Blinkers Off, and also tomorrow, the Magic Mike Show will be back. I'm sure they will be covering Saratoga as well. So plenty of action tomorrow. Not us, though. We will be off. We'll be back Friday. We have a live seminar Saturday, Whitney Day as well, at the Trackside Grill right across the street from Saratoga Racetrack. So make sure to check that out if you're in the area. Other than that, that's it. We'll see you guys. Safe travels for you, Ricky, driving. And hopefully our flights do not get delayed. We're there. And this time tomorrow, we'll be in the air heading towards Saratoga. So, come back Friday for Ricky's Rockets. Come back tomorrow, Blinkers Off, and the Magic Mike Show. Good luck to everybody playing today. We'll see you right back here on Friday for Ricky's Rockets.